In the heart of a hidden, lush green forest, there's a vibrant pond teeming with life. A place of tranquility and harmony, this pond is a bustling metropolis for the creatures that call it home. Imagine a world where the leaves of lily pads serve as umbrellas, where dragonflies dart about like airplanes, and where every ripple in the water is a new story waiting to unfold. In this bustling city, you'll find a host of fascinating inhabitants. Fish of every color dart about, their scales shimmering like tiny underwater rainbows. Dragonflies, their wings a blur of motion, zip back and forth across the pond's surface. And let's not forget the water striders, those fascinating creatures that can walk on water, their delicate legs barely causing a ripple. Below the surface, a community of water snails slide along, their spiral shells a testament to nature's artistry. And, of course, among the reeds and lily pads, you'll find the frogs. Oh, the frogs! Some are green as the lily pads they leap from, while others are brown as the bark of the trees that surround the pond. Each one has its own personality, its own unique voice adding to the pond's chorus. Among these croaking voices, there's one that stands out. It's not the loudest nor the deepest, but it's full of energy and life. This voice belongs to Fribbit, a small, energetic frog with a heart full of adventure. Fribbit is not your typical frog. He's curious, he's brave, and he's always ready for a challenge. He's the kind of frog that doesn't just dream about the world beyond the pond, he's determined to explore it. From the tips of his webbed toes to the top of his shiny green head, Fribbit is a bundle of energy, always hopping from one lily pad to another, always looking for the next big leap. His eyes sparkle with curiosity, and his croak, while small, carries a tune of courage. Among all these creatures, our story revolves around a little frog, Fribbit, who's about to embark on a great adventure. His journey is about to begin, and as with all great stories, it starts right here, in the heart of the pond. One day, Fribbit noticed something glittering atop a distant lily pad. This wasn't just any ordinary sparkle. Oh no! It was the kind of sparkle that demands attention, the kind that lights up even the murkiest corners of a pond. It was a sparkle that stirred up a wave of curiosity in our little frog friend Fribbit. You see, Fribbit was an adventurous soul. He was always ready to explore the hidden corners of his pond home, always eager to uncover its secrets. And this glittering object, whatever it was a mystery waiting to be solved. Fribbit's heart pounded with excitement. The sparkle seemed to call out to him, beckoning him to come closer. He could almost hear it whispering in the soft rustling of the reeds and the gentle lapping of the pond water against the pebbles. It was a call he simply couldn't ignore. With his heart filled with curiosity and his mind buzzing with questions, Fribbit knew what he had to do. He had to find a way to reach that distant lily pad. He had to uncover the secret of the glittering object, but the lily pad was far away, further than Fribbit had ever ventured. It was a journey that would require courage and determination. It would be a test of his bravery, his strength, and his will. But Fribbit wasn't afraid. Fribbit took a deep breath, readied himself, and made his first leap. There he was, a tiny green speck against the vast blue canvas of the pond, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. His tiny froggy eyes were wide open, filled with a mix of fear and elation, a feeling that was both strange and exhilarating. He could feel the cool breeze against his moist skin, the droplets of water glistening on his back reflecting the sun like a million tiny diamonds. The world around him was a blur, the colors of the pond merging into a beautiful whirl of greens and blues. For a brief moment, he felt like he was flying, soaring high above the water, free from the confines of his watery home. His tiny legs kicked in the air, propelling him forward. He could feel the rush of adrenaline, the excitement bubbling up inside him like a fizzy soda. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. The moment he had dreamt about every night since he first saw the lily pads floating on the pond's surface. The leap seemed to last an eternity, yet it was over in a flash. He landed with a soft splash, his tiny body creating ripples across the calm surface of the pond. He could feel the firmness of the lily pad beneath him, the texture of its leaf against his soft underbelly. He had done it. He had made his first leap. A wide grin spread across his face. his tiny froggy heart filled with a sense of accomplishment. He looked back at the distance he had covered, the leap he had made, and felt a surge of pride. He had faced his fears, taken the plunge, and come out victorious. The world around him seemed to be celebrating his victory. The birds were chirping louder, the sun was shining brighter, and even the lily pad seemed to sway in joy. Fribbit could feel a change within him, a newfound confidence, a sense of freedom he had never experienced before. With that leap, Fribbit's journey had officially begun. He was no longer just a frog in a pond. He was Fribbit, the brave frog who dared to leap. And this was just the beginning. His journey had just started, and he was ready for whatever came next. The journey to the lily pad was not easy. It was filled with challenges. Now, you may think a pond is a peaceful place, but for a little frog like Fribbit, it's a world of adventure and danger. One of the first challenges our friend Fribbit faced was the darting dragonflies. These buzzing bugs would swoop and swerve, zigzagging across the pond. Fribbit had to be quick. He had to be nimble, hopping from one spot to another just in the nick of time to avoid their darting dance. And let's not forget about the herons, those tall, long-legged birds with their sharp beaks, always on the lookout for a tasty treat. Fribbit had to be extra careful not to end up as a snack for these hungry herons. He would hide under the floating leaves, keeping as still as a stone, waiting for the herons to pass by. It was a game of survival, a test of patience and courage, but the challenges were not just about dodging dragonflies and hiding from herons. There were times when the journey seemed too long, the lily pad too far, moments when Fribbit felt tired and wanted to give up. But do you know what kept him going? His determination, his dream of reaching the lily pad. He knew that every leap, every jump brought him closer to his goal. And so, Fribbit continued, his tiny heart filled with courage. He faced each challenge head-on, never losing sight of his goal. He hopped higher, he swam faster, he hid better. He learned from each challenge, each obstacle, turning them into stepping stones towards his dream. Despite the obstacles, Fribbit remained undeterred, his eyes set on the lily pad. Fribbit's journey reminds us that challenges are a part of life. They may seem daunting at first, but with determination and perseverance, we can overcome them. Just like Fribbit, we too can reach our lily pads, no matter how far they seem. On his journey, Fribbit met a wise old turtle. In the vast expanse of the pond, Fribbit, our little frog, bumped into a creature unlike any he'd seen before. It was a wise old turtle, his shell a mosaic of age and wisdom. The turtle was slow and steady, and there was something about his calm demeanor that immediately put Fribbit at ease. The turtle, noticing Fribbit's wide-eyed curiosity, offered a warm smile. He introduced himself as Turtleton, the elder of the pond, known for his tales of the water world and his nuggets of wisdom. Fribbit, intrigued, shared his story, his dreams of reaching the lily pad and the challenges he'd faced. Turtleton listened attentively, his eyes twinkling with understanding. He nodded knowingly, telling Fribbit, "The journey to the lily pad is indeed a challenging one, young frog. But remember, every leap you take, every ripple you create, is a step closer to your dream." He then shared a piece of advice that would stay with Fribbit forever. The pond is vast and the currents can be strong, but as long as you have the courage in your heart and the leap in your legs, there's no lily pad too far. Turtleton's words resonated with Fribbit. He realized that the journey wouldn't always be easy, but it was the courage to leap forward that mattered. It was about embracing the unknown, facing the challenges, and never losing sight of his dream. The encounter with the wise old turtle filled Fribbit with a newfound sense of purpose. He thanked Turtleton for his wisdom, promising to remember his words as he continued his journey. Turtleton, pleased with Fribbit's determination, waved him goodbye, his slow, steady movements a stark contrast to Fribbit's eager leaps. But as different as they were, they shared a common understanding, that every journey begins with a single leap. With the turtle's advice in his heart, Fribbit continued his journey with renewed vigor. After many leaps and bounds, Fribbit finally reached the lily pad. In the heart of the pond, afloat on the serene surface, Fribbit's destination awaited him. Now, he was no longer a tiny frog in a vast pond, but a triumphant adventurer who had conquered his journey. The lily pad, once a distant dream, now lay beneath his tiny, webbed feet. The feeling of joy bubbled within him, like the tiny air bubbles floating up from the depths of the pond to burst at the surface. It was a joy as bright as the midday sun reflecting off the water's surface, as warm as the soft mud at the bottom of the pond he called home. He had made it. Fribbit, the tiny frog with dreams larger than the pond itself, had achieved his goal. And there it was, the object of his quest, glittering on the lily pad like a tiny star fallen from the night sky. It glistened and gleamed, catching the sunlight in a dazzling display of sparkling light. It was a dewdrop, a simple bead of water, and yet to Fribbit it was the most beautiful sight he had ever seen. This dewdrop was not just a tiny droplet of water, it was a symbol of his courage, his determination, and his adventurous spirit. It was a testament to every leap he had taken, every challenge he had faced, and every friend he had made along the way. Fribbit sat on the lily pad, his heart brimming with triumph, his eyes shining brighter than the dewdrop itself. He looked at his reflection in the dewdrop, and he didn't see a tiny frog anymore. He saw a brave adventurer, a conqueror, a dreamer who had made his dream come true. Fribbit had made it. He had reached the lily pad and discovered the glittering dewdrop. And in that moment, Fribbit knew that no dream was too big, no journey too long, and no lily pad too far. With the dewdrop in his sight, Fribbit began his journey back home. He made his way through the dense water reeds, which once seemed like a daunting forest, but now felt more like friendly guardians waving him goodbye. The reeds no longer towered over him. Instead, they seemed to bend down, whispering tales of his bravery and courage to the other pond dwellers. In the distance, Fribbit could see the glistening pond, his home, beckoning him to return. The path that once seemed so unfamiliar was now filled with memories of his epic journey. The once menacing stones were now stepping stones, markers of his brave adventure. As Fribbit hopped along the path, he noticed the sunflowers that once hid from him, now standing tall, their faces turned towards him in admiration. The wind, once a formidable foe, was now a friendly companion, gently pushing him forward, nudging him towards his home. He saw the lily pad bridge, the same one that had caused him so much fear before. But now, he hopped onto it with ease, his heart filled with confidence. He realized that the lily pad bridge was not an obstacle, but a stepping stone to his dreams. The thorny bushes, once a terrifying barrier, were now a gentle reminder of his resilience. They stood silent, their thorns dull in the light of his courage. Fribbit hopped past them, his heart pounding with pride. As he neared his home, Fribbit could see the familiar faces of his friends, their eyes wide with awe and admiration. They cheered for him, their voices echoing across the pond, a sweet melody of homecoming. Fribbit finally reached his home, the dewdrops sparkling in his sight. His heart swelled with joy, not just because he had completed his journey, but because he had grown. He had evolved. He was no longer the same frog who had set out on this journey. Fribbit realized the journey had not only led him to the dewdrop, but it had also made him stronger and wiser. This was not just the end of an adventure, but the beginning of a new chapter in Fribbit's life. A chapter filled with wisdom, courage, and the whispers of the lily pad. As Fribbit returned to his home in the pond, he was greeted with cheers and applause. The entire pond was brimming with excitement and anticipation. Even the usually sleepy turtles had woken up to welcome their brave friend back home. The dragonflies zipped around, creating a dazzling display of colors in the air, while the water bugs skated across the pond's surface, creating ripples of joy. Fribbit's heart was filled with warmth as he saw familiar faces cheering for him. The fish were leaping out of the water, splashing droplets that sparkled like diamonds in the sunlight. The ducks were quacking in unison, their voices forming a harmonious symphony that echoed across the pond. As Fribbit hopped onto his favorite lily pad, he was met with a standing ovation from the reeds. They swayed in the breeze as if clapping for his triumphant return. The pond was alive with celebration. each creature expressing their joy in their own unique way. Fribbit's journey had not been an easy one. He had faced challenges, made friends, and learned about the big world beyond his home. But through it all, he never lost sight of his goal. And that's what made him a hero in the eyes of his fellow pond dwellers. The frogs croaked out a song, their voices resonating with pride for their friend. The crickets joined in, their chirps adding a rhythmic beat to the melody. Even the moon seemed to shine a little brighter that night, casting a silver glow on the pond's surface. Fribbit looked around at his home, his heart swelling with love for the friends who had supported him throughout his journey. He felt a sense of achievement, but more than that, he felt a sense of belonging. He realized that no matter how far he traveled, the pond would always be his home. As the night fell, the pond continued to celebrate, their cheers and songs echoing under the starlit sky. Fribbit, our little frog, had not only completed his journey, but he had also become a hero. And as he closed his eyes, he knew he would always carry the whispers of the lily pad in his heart. As Fribbit settled back into his home, he reflected on his journey. It was an adventure like no other, filled with leaps of faith, unexpected friendships, and lessons that would stay with him forever. He remembered how his journey began, with the first giant leap from the safety of his home to the unknown world of the lily pad. It was a leap of courage, a leap into the unknown. And from that leap, he learned that sometimes you need to take a chance, to jump into the unknown, to discover new things and grow. Then, Fribbit recalled the challenges he faced along the way. There were moments when he felt like giving up, when the journey seemed too difficult, too treacherous. But he persevered. He pushed through the fear, the doubt, and the fatigue. He learned that it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. Perseverance, he learned, is the key to overcoming any challenge. Fribbit also thought about the friends he made on his journey, especially the friendly turtle. It was the turtle who guided him when he was lost, who encouraged him when he was down, who cheered him on when he reached the lily pad. From this friendship, Fribbit learned the value of companionship. He learned that no journey is too difficult or too long when you have a friend by your side. In the quiet of his pond, Fribbit smiled as he realized how much he had grown, how much he had learned. His journey to the lily pad wasn't just about reaching a destination. It was about the lessons he learned along the way, about courage, perseverance, and friendship. And so, Fribbit's journey taught him that with courage, perseverance, and a little help from friends, anything is possible. As he nestled back into his cozy home, he looked forward to his next adventure, ready to leap into the unknown, equipped with the lessons he had learned. And so, Fribbit's adventure ended, but his story would be told for generations. Our little hero, Fribbit, started his journey right at home, in the cozy comfort of his little pond. He heard the call of the lily pad, a distant whisper that beckoned him to venture out of his familiar surroundings. This call was a challenge, a dare, a promise of a world beyond what he knew, and so, with a heart full of courage, Fribbit took his first leap. His journey was not without its trials and tribulations. Each leap, each splash, each moment brought its own set of challenges. At times, the way was rough, the waters turbulent, but Fribbit, with his spirit undeterred, pressed on. Along the way, he found a friend in a friendly turtle, a companion who shared his path and lightened his journey. Finally, Fribbit reached his destination, the lily pad. It was more beautiful than he could ever imagine, a symbol of his achievement, a testament to his courage. But as he sat there, basking in the glory of his accomplishment, he realized that his journey was far from over. He had to return home, back to his cozy pond. The journey back was a reflection of his outward journey, filled with the same trials and tribulations, but this time, Fribbit was different. He was a seasoned traveler, a wise frog who had seen the world and braved the elements. His homecoming was a celebration, a testament of his courage and determination. Fribbit's story is a tale of exploration, of courage, of determination. It's a tale that teaches us the value of stepping out of our comfort zones, of taking on challenges, of embracing the unknown. It's a tale that reminds us that the journey is just as important, if not more, than the destination. Fribbit's tale, The Whispers of the Lily Pad, reminds us all that every journey, no matter how small, is an adventure worth taking.